Imagine this, you're knee-deep in spreadsheets, sipping your fourth cup of lukewarm office coffee, when something strange catches your eye. A massive file transfer. Gigabytes of customer data zipping off to a sketchy server named something as innocuous as temp_storage_archive42. Curious, you trace the log. Then your heart skips a beat. Not only was the data offloaded to a server outside your firewall, but someone with admin access manually wiped the logs afterward. Whoa, this isn't your everyday IT misstep. This smells fishy. No, scratch that, it reeks. You swivel your chair, lean toward your coworker Greg, the guy who brings homemade jerky to the office potluck. Hey, you whisper, you see anything weird in the network logs? Greg blinks twice, shrugs, and goes back to watching the 13-minute YouTube video on air fryers. You're on your own. This is where it starts. That moment when you are the only one staring directly at a giant red flag, and everyone else seems either oblivious or unwilling to care. So what do? Keep quiet, protect your job, and pretend nothing happened? Or do you blow the whistle, risk your career, and potentially become the unlikely star of a Netflix docuseries, called a data hero nobody knew they needed? Welcome to the 2025 edition of Corporate Whistleblowing 101, where the stakes are high, the rewards higher, and the consequences, well, they'll keep you up at night. In today's digital battleground, companies are leaking more than a dollar store inflatable pool. Just ask the 45 million students whose personal records were exposed in PowerSchool's colossal breach earlier this year. Or check out the Carriot incident. Volkswagen's tech arm accidentally dumped terabytes of internal data like they were cleaning out an old Dropbox folder. And let's not forget the New York Blood Center ransomware attack that had privacy watchdogs gasping into their N95 sys. This isn't just about one rogue employee or an overworked sysadmin forgetting to update a firewall. We're talking systemic negligence, deliberate log wiping, and cover-ups that could make a soap opera look subtle. And the best part? There are now more legal pathways than ever to call this nonsense out safely, effectively, and sometimes with a financial thank you that'll make your 401 weep with joy. Now back to your dilemma. Let's say you're no hero. You didn't wake up craving a legal battle or dreaming of being interviewed by Rachel Maddow. But here's the kicker. Staying silent doesn't mean staying safe anymore. The DOJ has made it crystal clear. They want you to snitch. In 2024, they rolled out a pilot whistleblower program specifically for cyber fraud. It lets insiders like you report data-related crimes involving federal contracts, offering anonymity, protection, and yes, rewards. And then there's the False Claims Act, a timeless gem in the legal toolkit, which allows whistleblowers to receive between 15% and 30% of any recovered damages. In recent years, those recoveries have often soared into the millions. Suddenly, Greg's air fryer review doesn't seem so important, does it? Let's take a trip through whistleblower wonderland, shall we? You report the incident to your company's internal ethics hotline. Silence. You send an anonymous email to your compliance department. Nada. You drop a friendly heads-up in the team Slack. 2 minutes later, the message is deleted, and your access to network logs is mysteriously revoked. Congratulations. You're no longer an employee with a concern. You're a potential threat. But this story has a path forward. You talk to a lawyer, preferably one fluent in Securities and Exchange Commission regulations, whistleblower protections, and the various acronyms that might one day save your bacon. They tell you your case fits neatly under both the DOJ Cyber Fraud Initiative and the False Claims Act. Your company, it turns out, had a multi-million-dollar federal contract that explicitly required proper data handling. Oops. That careless temp_storage_archive42 upload wasn't just a misstep. It was a potentially illegal breach of contract, and you're the person who spotted it. Cue the next scene in your transformation montage. Your lawyer helps you submit your evidence to the right authorities. The DOJ launches an internal investigation. Subpoenas fly. The compliance officer who once dismissed your concerns now has a permanent wrinkle etched between their eyebrows. You're vindicated. You're protected by law. And best of all, you're eligible for a portion of any settlement that results. Don't think this is fantasy. Just ask Claire, a mid-level engineer at a major financial firm who noticed unsecured internal data being shared with third-party vendors in violation of federal regulations. She documented everything, reported it through the proper channels, got stonewalled, then went to the Securities and Exchange Commission. 1 year later, her tip led to a $50 million settlement, and she received a reward so large, she never had to worry about buying generic cereal again. But what happens if you don't speak up? Let's fast forward a bit. 6 months down the line, that mysterious data dump becomes front-page news. Hackers grab the exposed information. Customer data floods the dark web. Your company's stock tanks, trust evaporates. And guess who's sitting in a room full of lawyers answering questions about what they knew and when they knew it? That's right, you. Except now, you're not a brave whistleblower. You're just another guy who saw something and said nothing. Your silence becomes complicity. And let's be real, data breaches today aren't like the ones from 10 years ago. They don't just cause reputational damage. They lead to billion-dollar lawsuits, CEO resignations, and boardroom purges. Just this year, Meta's board agreed to a major settlement in Delaware over the multi-billion-dollar cost of its chronic data breaches. Their shareholders were not angry. They were furious. And regulators? They're circling like sharks at a seafood buffet. In 2025, corporate data dumps aren't an oops. They're a liability time bomb. Courts are cracking down. Regulators are on high alert. And whistleblowers, they're not pariahs anymore. They're rock stars. The government has made it clear. You help them bust bad actors, and they'll make sure you're protected and rewarded. Still worried about being labeled a snitch? Relax. We're way past the days of parking lot secret meetings and trench coats. Whistleblower laws now shield your identity so tightly that even the company's board may never learn your name. And if they retaliate, that's another lawsuit, another payout, and another reason to buy that beach house you've always dreamed of. You might be wondering, but is this really my responsibility? I didn't ask to be in this position. Fair point. But here's the truth. In an age when data is more valuable than oil, people who safeguard it, or call out those who mishandle it, are nothing short of essential. You didn't ask to be the hero of this story. But if you are holding the only key to justice, are you really okay tossing it in the drawer and walking away? Now let's dial up the dramatic music. Picture this. The camera zooms in on your face. You're sitting alone in a fluorescent-lit office, surrounded by blinking monitors. The log file is still open on your screen. The evidence is undeniable. You stare at the phone. On the other end, a lawyer ready to help you file your claim. Outside, the world moves on. But in this moment, everything hangs in the balance. Do you call? Do you risk it all? Or do you play it safe and live with the fact that you let it all slide? Here's the truth most companies don't want you to know. You have more power than you think. In fact, whistleblower tips have helped recover billions of dollars from corporate wrongdoing in the last decade. And now, with the DOJ's cyber fraud focus and the SEC's aggressive posture, your timing couldn't be better. You're not just a cog in the machine anymore. You are the wrench. And maybe, just maybe, you're the reason things get better. So ask yourself the question again. Your company is dumping data illegally. Do you blow the whistle? Because in this game, silence isn't golden. It's just complicit. So what will you do if your company dumped data illegally? Would you stay quiet and keep your seat warm? Or blow the whistle and become the hero no one saw coming? If you found this video eye-opening, jaw-dropping, or just a little bit terrifying in a should I delete my emails kind of way, then do us a favor. Smash that like and subscribe for more hard-hitting deep dives. Thanks for watching, Data Defenders. Stay curious, stay brave, and remember, some heroes don't wear capes. They wear hoodies and carry USB drives.